loyalty to the U.S. Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standards and Technology. And so he's well trained in the innovation and improvement framework of Baldrige, which emphasizes an integrated approach in key management areas like leadership, strategic planning, customer focus, management analysis, knowledge management, workforce, and more. William has been a consultant with CIPE since 2016, and I've been very privileged to work with him, mainly in the Middle East or North Africa. And he's taken his practice to many other parts of the world with CIPE to great effect in recent years. So, William, thank you very much for joining us for today's discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm gonna go into a little bit of content and share some thoughts on association value proposition, but I want to invite you first to share any thoughts you might have on the subject at the outset.
Yeah, so I think it's you almost think of value proposition going with mission, and I don't know if folks do this, but like peanut butter and jelly type of thing, you know, they go well together for folks that like that, and I think it aligns really nicely with an association's mission. Because what I think it does is clearly communicates how your business association's unique benefits and services. So think about the things that you do on a regular basis as an organization, and it helps to directly support and advance the core purpose and goals of your organization. So I always say, without a strong value proposition, it's really, really hard to emphasize and touch on and really highlight those things that you're doing well. And I think your members aren't hearing the good things you're doing. So I would say that that's the biggest point, Stephen. I'll go through the workbook as we're working together. It's a step-by-step guide for everyone here to be able just to do it on their own, you know, to develop your value proposition. I've done this with several organizations, and I was very, very pleased with the work that came out of it. So I think you have a good opportunity to develop a great value proposition today with this workbook that we're going to share, that CIPE has exclusive rights to share with the partners.
Thank you very much, Bill.
And Steve,
yes,
just one other thing. If you'd like to turn on your video, that would be great to see everyone as well. Yeah. So feel free.
Sounds good. And while you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. We will have both William and myself will go through some the content with you and share some ideas, and then we'll have an opportunity for discussion and Q&A around this. So without further ado, we'll get into it. I do want to call your attention to a new resource available to you that CIPE has put out. This is a new landing page on our website called Association Frontiers, and it's dedicated to CIPE's work with business membership organizations. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary, and our work to support business membership organizations has really been at the heart of our business model and our approach over the past 4 decades. So we have put this site together to really share a lot of what we've learned in this space over our 4 decades of experience. We organize our work around 7 domains of organizational excellence, which you can see here. So you'll find interesting, I think, information, tidbits, and some tools, some case studies, and so on within each of these domains. So welcome you to check that out at your convenience. At the risk of stating the obvious, there's no value proposition. We're here to talk about value proposition, but there's no value proposition without the value. So we really need to start with that. The association needs to be generating and providing value to the members to begin with. And that involves, you know, having an optimal membership structure and delivery channels for the services, the benefits, and so on that we provide. That needs to be underpinned by a good understanding of your membership and their needs, in analyzing our offerings through the lens of association needs, priorities, market demand, because we're trying to build really a marketable services model that answers to the needs of our customer base, and in continuously analyzing the effectiveness of our programs and services in terms of engagement and satisfaction and so forth, on a continuing basis, and sunsetting existing programs or modifying existing programs, bringing new offerings online that meet that demand. So why do members join an association? They join it. I mean, it's pretty simple. They join to receive valuable benefits and services. And conversely, the number one reason that they don't join is that they don't see that value. And when asked, what is the number one thing, and this is based on recent survey data of association leaders in North America, but I think that there's a lot of resonance in this globally. When asked, what's stopping you from presenting that value to the members, what's standing in your way, is that they don't know how. It's that they don't know how. How do we articulate this? How do we explain this? How do we convey the value to the members? And so this stands in the way of many associations as the biggest impediment to growth. But if you look at sources of value, it's about it's about networking, providing networking, whether that's B2B, B2C, B2G, networking, continuing education, and training, best practices in our industry. Information is so important, customized, relevant, timely information, and then being part of the advocacy endeavor, right? Supporting the advocacy for the members. Member discounts is also up there, pretty high, whether you're talking about an individual membership organization or a trade association. Discounts and other benefits. So these are some of the top sources of value that we see. We say, what do we mean when we say value proposition? It's bringing, as Bill was saying, it's bringing mission really to the level of member benefit, and making that understandable and accessible to the members. So this is from an ASAE publication going back a couple of years ago. They define value proposition as the benefits and solutions people can expect from joining, and the association's promise to deliver on that. So it's sort of that mutual covenant between association and member. This is what you can expect from joining, and this is what we're gonna do for you. This is how we're gonna deliver for you. So I like the way that, just to share a few examples, I like the way that this association has sort of captured this with the tagline, "Together we can take on anything." It's about committing to your professional, with your commitment to your professional association, you get ample opportunity for education, networking, and volunteer participation. We become your partner, elevating your performance and providing greater purpose. This is Risk Management Society. They have a lot of offerings, a lot of benefits. They boiled it down to three basic things: exclusive content, networking, preferential pricing. Right? People get that, right? If you're thinking about joining RIMS, you see that, oh, okay, that makes sense. I see the benefit, I see the value proposition in that. Can we quantify? What can we quantify? And we, looking at macro level factors like the size of the network and the community that you're joining by being a part of the association, the economic impact, right, that you're going to be a part of. I like the way they, there's some numbers behind this to give you a sense of scale with meetings professionals, and the testimonial. It's about success and happiness. It's about my success and happiness. That's what membership is doing for me. Some associations have done a nice job of visualizing this. And so this is the Addis Chamber from Ethiopia. I like the visualization of the value and the member benefits. You can see it here all in one place. And can we take this a step further and quantify the value of membership? in dollars and cents, or whatever your local currency is? Can we assign a monetary value to the benefits of membership? So, whether it's education, the advocacy, the discount program, what's the return going to be for me? What's the value of this? And to aggregate that for the full membership experience and package. Some organizations have developed ROI calculators for this, so that the member can, upon visiting the website, select category of membership, the various products and services that they access and so forth, and it will calculate for them what is the ROI, what is the return on the investment of their dues contribution by being a part of the association. And that really makes it very tangible for the member to see the positive ROI of being a part of this organization. This was a ROI calculation that we worked up with a partner in Lebanon. I'm not going to share all the details behind it, but I do want to emphasize, the first one you see here is what we would call a golden handcuff benefit. And so right out of the gate, you've established a benefit that is so valuable that many members can't live without it. So if they access nothing else, if they take advantage of nothing else that this manufacturing association has to offer, they're going to benefit. They're going to realize a positive ROI just from that discount, in this case on port fees. So a large manufacturer moving multiple containers through Port of Beirut, they're going to save a lot of money by being a part of the association, right? And taking advantage of that discount program. More examples of the ROI calculator. I like the way different groups have been able to do this and make it really tangible to the member. Here's a local chamber of commerce. So lots of different kind of formulations for this, but I do like this as kind of the next level in how we make this tangible to the member. I will stop there and turn it over to William, for his presentation, and we'll go from there. William has developed a very good tool, as he mentioned at the outset, to help associations go through this process of understanding and articulating what the value proposition is. So thank you, William, for sharing it with us today.
Yeah, no problem. So Steve, I am going to pull it up here if I can find it on my screen. Let me try this real quick here. Okay, there we go. All right, can everyone see this okay? Steve, you got it? Okay, awesome.
Yes, got it.
Terrific. I'm just going to move it up a little bit so I can see it as well. And I'm going to shrink the screen a little bit. But as Steve mentioned, I think that this was a missing link for many organizations that I worked with. It was like, okay, we have a strategic plan. We have our mission, which is our purpose. That's why we exist as an organization. We, as a business association, we work through and we develop all these benefits and services, but nobody knows about them. I think, one example with Ali is the port discount. When we did some work there, it was like, there was a lot of money to be saved, and some folks didn't even realize that it was there. And now it's at the top of the list, and it's something that if you just do that, you can save significantly. So what we thought as a company we put together is this. You can use this within your organization. Feel free. I think, Steve, you're probably going to share this after the session.
Yeah, we'll be happy to share it with participants. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. And then it could be shared in a Word version as well, so folks can fill it in. That was the purpose of this. I don't protect anything. We do a lot of stuff for free, and we want you to have this. So in terms of, we wanted to provide a step-by-step guide in developing a value proposition. So I think it sums it up here. How do we engage and excite your members about your organization and what you offer? And I think Steve mentioned it. You have to have some good offerings first, and they have to be valuable to your members and constituents. So the first thing is, so as you can see here, identify your association's why. I think that's the key thing, why. And that really is your mission. It's why you exist as an organization. What drives your business association or your organization? And it's not the how-to, and you see that in mission statements all the time. It's like, we do this by or through X, Y, and Z. Please, in your mission statements, delete the how-to. Just really speak to why we exist and what benefit we provide as an organization. And I say this, why should anyone care about what you do in your association? So think about that from your key stakeholder or your members' experience. So I think the first part we talk about table stakes, it's things we have to do to be an effective organization. And I think here's an example, a creative way to express why your organization exists. This is just an anonymous organization. It was one we wanted to share that would be relatable on this call as well. But I think write it from the heart. And you probably don't hear that a lot. It's like, but write it from the heart. This shouldn't be a really like stiff business type of written form. So what we did is, for this association, this is an actual association. Again, it's anonymous. It was like, here's an example of a great why statement for an organization. At the heart of this organization lies the unwavering belief that empowering women in business and professional sectors is crucial. So we talk about that. And then we talk about our purpose goes even beyond that. Networking opportunities, professional support. So fundamentally fostering, and I highlighted something, fostering an inclusive and thriving economy through women's leadership and innovation. Like, you want to grab people, from the beginning. So this is just the start of writing it. This isn't your value proposition. This is just why you exist as an organization. And we exist because we want to tackle challenges such as gender inequality and lack of business opportunities for women. So as you could tell, this is a professional business women's association somewhere in the world. So by advocating for women's rights, how they do this, and that's what they do. And then, so the question is, so this is the why. And then I asked the question, why should anyone care about our work as an association? So ask that question, or your key stakeholders, or get a focus group together, get your members together and find out what the answers are. But why should anyone care is this organization's work is essential because it empowers women in business and professional sectors, driving gender equality and economic growth. So those are two big key things. And then they talk about their programs, mentorship, advocacy. But specifically, it helps women overcome barriers. I mean, that's a big thing for this organization. It's really, how do there's all different types of barriers, from access to financing to to just the culture, of a professional businesswoman working somewhere in the world and, not being accepted in the culture the way it should be. How do you get critical resources and expand your business? So these are things like, if I'm someone that's interested in this association that's fostering women's leadership and innovation, you already got me in terms of expanding my business globally, because that may be something I'm going to do, or I need resources, or there's barriers that I just can't get through. Um, so, so what I'm noting here is that this creates a supportive community that fosters personal and professional development, inclusive and prosperous society, and women are integral to the economic and social progress within the country. So if you look at this, all of the highlighted things: empowering women, fostering inclusive and thriving economy, tackling challenges, driving gender equality and economic growth, supportive community, inclusive and prosperous. So this is what should speak to your organization's members, not even members, those that are considering it. Like, I have no place to go. This is my home, right? This is my home as an organization. This is not just an association. This is my home. And we should think of our organizations as our homes for our members, that we are doing wonderful things in that home for them. So I like to say, it's just, they're not just coming to our home, but we're welcoming them. We're giving them food and drink, and we're giving them a nice, comfortable place. That is what an association is. It's not an empty shell, or it's not about just the meetings. It's about what we offer. So this is just talking about the why of an organization. And I think that the final thing that I wanted to note here is, I always say, what would happen if your organization didn't exist? So think about that now, everyone. Just kind of think about that. If your organization didn't exist, I asked that here in the States, and one of the members said, people would die if our organization didn't exist. That is super powerful. And then without this organization, women would face greater challenges in accessing professional networks, mentorship, and business resources. So you can see here, it's hindering their careers, perpetuating gender inequality, limiting economic growth. It would slow progress towards all of these things. And I think it would be a step backwards for women, professional business women. So again, this is just some of the statements. And I would, when you are doing this and going through this, there is a section that you'll be able to write this up. But I would highlight some of these things in bold, like I did as well, so you can pull them out in your marketing. And then also the community would lose a vital force driving innovation, inclusivity. And then in summary, I have here, that this organization empowers individual women, but also drives systemic change that benefits the entire community. So it goes beyond the business association, but to the entire community. So you would have a spot here to write up your your why, not your value proposition. So that was not your value proposition. And as we go further deeper into this document as well, the next piece is, what are your members' pain points? Like, how have we done this in the past? Like for folks that are on the webinar now, think about that. How have we actually shared our pain points? And there will be a chance. So if you have questions, please just unmute and ask me them, or put them in the chat as well. And then we'll have a Q&A session after this as well. So I'll move through this fairly quickly. But pain points, what keeps your members up at night? Never ask the question of, so this is the one question you never want to ask. What do you need from us? They don't know. Your stakeholders, your members, they don't know. What the great question is, what keeps your members up at night? So that gets you to dive deeper into how your business association can serve them better. So for example, we talk about they might be losing sleep over competitive pressures, market challenges, adopting new technologies, just home life, home life work balance, or some of the things that they're trying to do within their businesses that just don't work because things are not working for them. So you are their hope when you think about their key pain points, because you're listening to them. So once you ask them about the key pain points, you have to work to try to deliver. So I did a couple here for this organization. So this is what I would say when you're illustrating your key pain points. I just put 5 in here as an example. Gender inequality, how it hurts members. I would put this in every single pieces of your information. Women face barriers. It's just how it is to entry and advancement in many industries. Underrepresentation, networking barriers, lack of access to professional networks. We see that all the time as well. Access to resources like capital. Like, how do we access capital, business training, professional development, work-life balance? How do you balance professional responsibilities with personal and family? So these were some of the pain points that came out. And then also regulatory challenges. This is, if you are someone in a sector that's dealing, in this example, and facing barriers, and women facing barriers, struggling and balancing professional responsibilities and all of those other things. The other part is, how do we navigate legal and regulatory environments? So all of those things, are things that are, I would say that these are just 5 pain points. But if you're speaking with your members, and not just your members, speak with people that even aren't your members that are interested. Have a member bring a non-member, where you're going to ask these questions and do this research and build this value proposition. I think that would be important. So I would note all of the pain points. We do have a spot for you to write them down, so you'd be able to do that in this worksheet. So pain points. And then, as Steve mentioned, program services and benefits are very important. As Steve mentioned, the golden handcuff. And that means, is there a program, benefit, or service that you have, Rose, for example, or anyone on the call, that is so compelling that they will not leave your organization. They will thrive and benefit from it, like the port discount for Ali, the Lebanese industrialist, for example. But you just don't have to, even if you don't have one, making sure that you understand what they are and what the gaps are for between your benefits and services and the gaps that your members would like to see. So really, I would say list your members, your services and benefits, and then look at those key pain points that we talked about earlier, match them up and say, are we really meeting the key pain points? Because I would say if there's probably gaps in there as well. So in each pain point, I'm going to show you here. Here's an example. This is in the sheet. So I would encourage you to build something similar if you'd like to, because all of the work that you're doing is going to help benefit you in the future. But so list the pain point. So gender inequality. So for example, this organization offers advocacy for women's rights and gender equality, but they need to have more targeted initiatives in specific industries. They're good in 3 industries, but maybe not all 10 or 12 or 15, whatever it is. I'm just throwing it out there. Networking barriers, we provide that, but they're limited. Business training programs, we have them, but we need financial support. They have a need for financial support and funding access. Our business training programs maybe aren't focused enough on that. Work-life balance, more family-friendly events and programs where they can bring family to the events so that they can attend them. And then regulatory, which was the one piece at the top, was let's say this organization provides advisory services on legal and regulatory compliance. But do we have industry-specific regulatory guidance? We do it on a bigger scale, but we're not touching the industry-specific. So this is just a way to look at all of the benefits all the pain points on the left side, all of the benefits that fill the pain points. There may be more than one, and then what's missing. So that's going to be critical for you to put together, and I think it'll be important to make sure that that's outlined. So that's your pain points. And then the next piece is what makes your business association different? What makes it different? Think about that now. What differentiates your business association from a car rental association, from the mountaineering association, from the industrialists, from a chamber of commerce, an economic development organization? So here's an example of this organization. What's the difference? They offer a comprehensive mentorship program, and that's very different. And that's helping women entrepreneurs and professionals. They do it in person and virtually as well. They have an export unit, which is great because that's growing globally. Specialized initiative to help women-owned businesses expand their reach into international markets. So that's important. That's what makes us different from others. And they're exclusive programs that are offered by this organization. So what I would do is ask you to write in when you're going through this workbook, what makes you different? So I put the examples up here so you have something to use to be able to translate to your organization as well. So I love examples, Steve, they work great. They're really helpful. So as we keep going down further, so this is your value proposition. So we went through all of that, pain points, differentiation, the why, all of these pieces just to get to this point. That's why we can't just sit down and say, what's our value proposition? It's not going to work. We have to think about all of the things, the 5 things we talked about earlier to get to this point. So this needs to encapsulate your value proposition. It's not just your features and benefits, because I hear this all the time. Oh, but we have great meetings and we have great programs. We have a great seminar and all of these things. Well, what does that mean to me, right? What does that mean to me? It means nothing, because I need to understand what's my return on investment, as Steve mentioned. How do I get a return on investment? So go beyond features and benefits. I beg you to do that, because I think it's going to make a huge difference. So there's other questions to incorporate, like what benefits it offers, but how does it address members' needs? Why you're the preferred choice? Why you are the number one choice? Why you exist as an organization? Why should we care? And why should we be members or stakeholders within your organization? So here's an example. This is from all of the work that we just did with this one organization, this example organization. So by becoming a member of this organization, you're not just joining an association. So we're saying that right away, a business association. You are entering a supportive community, a home a home dedicated to your professional growth and personal growth. So that first sentence is so important because it sets the tone for the rest. It's the reason that you're coming into our home. And then you can go into the programs, our unique programs, um, such as the export unit, and tailored membership initiatives. Now we go into empower you to break barriers and achieve new heights in your career. Now we're giving you the why. And then we talk about you're going to have access to influential networking opportunities, advocacy efforts, for gender equality, comprehensive resources. And then I love this one. Your success is not just a possibility, but a reality. So join us to shape a future where women lead and innovate. Now, if you were sitting there, so Rose or Rosalie or anybody that's on the phone right now, if you are reading this and you're thinking this, is this powerful? For your organization. I mean, the power that you're seeing from this statement is immense in terms of what you're trying to deliver. This is it. This is your value proposition right here in one paragraph. And then what I'd love is for you to take this and take it into the next level. So some key success measures that you should have for this. So some key success measures our members have experienced. So I wrote this not only with the success measure, but also a testimonial. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't get it out, but I was trying very hard. So 30% increase in business leads. Is this important? Of course it is. And then somebody says, thanks to this business association's networks events, I've expanded my client base and seen a significant boost in business leads. 25% boost in productivity. That's important for our business association members. Couldn't be happier. Our team skills and efficiencies, couldn't be happier. Love the name. Team skills and efficiencies and a remarkable 25% increase in productivity. Imagine that's like getting another person on your team because of what you've done through your business association. Crushing It says, they had a 20% improvement in workforce skills. So workforce development empowered the team with new skills and knowledge. So Smooth Sailing says reduction in regulatory compliance issues, 15% reduction in issues. Imagine how much time you can save. So this is how you talk to your members. Advocacy efforts have had a direct impact on reducing regulatory compliance issues for our company, leading to smoother operations. And then finally, 20% decrease in workplace stress. Who wouldn't like less stress, right? Raise your hand. I definitely would like less stress as well. So Cool Customer says, ABC support programs, we've seen a significant decrease in workplace stress. So there's a healthier work environment. So this is like all of this stuff here. This is why you want to be here, whether you're a member or not. You want this. You want all of this to come to you. And so I'd say in the past year alone, this is what we talked about. So this now you want to bring it together. Our members have experienced profound transformations. Like this is what you want to say. Proving, our dedication to empowering women. This is more than professional development. So we want to go beyond an association. We are more than an association. It's forging a future where women lead with confidence and impact. So this is now tying it together and saying why you should be a member. Forging a future where women lead with confidence and impact. So join us. Make this your home in this journey to not only uplift yourself, but to be a catalyst for enduring change and progress for other women. We can redefine what's possible. So there's so much here that you can take and put into marketing, put into different things. And when you are with your members at events or you're talking to new members, this is your statement. This one piece right here could be on one sheet of paper or a trifold or half-fold brochure that you hand out or on your website. So I would just write your value proposition here. And as I wrap up here, I have validating how you validate it. So the one thing, and we're not going to go through this here, is use surveys, focus groups, one-on-one interviews. Ask them what they think about your value proposition. And then what is your implementation plan? So for example, how do you make sure that this gets into all of your organization's work? Website content, is it an email campaign? I have some examples here. Promoting success stories through social media, your implementation plan is going to be hugely important. And then update it. Look at it every 6 months with your board or your leaders and make sure it's not one time and it's done. I would do this annually and just go through and make sure it works and makes sense. So thank you, Steve. I know it took me a little bit of time to go through this, but I know we have time for the Q&A, but wanted to share this with you, and I'll stop sharing here.
No, that was perfect. Thank you very much, Bill. Thanks for sharing the tool and the methodology and walking us through that. I mean, it's incredibly helpful because I think a lot of organizations don't know where to start when you say what's the value proposition. This provides a nice
Right.
step-by-step streamlined methodology for doing that, for getting there. One of the key insights to me is about the pain points, and it's not, the question to the members is not what do you need from us, because as you say, they don't know. They're going to say, I don't know, you tell us what we need.
Right.
But what they can tell you is what keeps you up at night. What keeps you up at night? What are those pain points? And then the association will design the solutions to that. To me, that's one of the key insights to all of this.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope folks are asking that question, because I know I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And whenever we would ask a question of someone, what do you need from us? It would be like, Anna, like, I don't know. I have no idea what service or benefit it is. But what keeps you up at night? What is your biggest issue right now that you're dealing with that we can help you with? We're not going to be able to help everyone, but at least we can ask everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. If you have questions, please raise your hand at this point, or pop it in the chat. I have a couple of my own. Bill, what do you think is the hardest step in this? What's the hardest step in the process?
I think it's hard to really examine your organization and I think it's hard to take a step back as an association leader and really try to think about what the organization, like going beyond just those services and the things that we do versus how much value we provide. Like there needs to be a transitional shift, I think, in thinking. And I think that can happen for sure. That's the hardest thing, I would think, if I was going through this. It's like I need to separate myself and I need to say, if we didn't exist, what would happen? So here's the questions I ask. Who's our target market? Like, who are we serving? Who do we serve? Why do we do it? And then what are we going to offer that's going to take care of those needs? So I think the biggest thing is to make sure we know who do we serve, because otherwise we can't have a mission, we can't have a strategic plan. What's our value proposition if we don't know who we're serving? So I would say let's go first step to figure out who we serve and then list those things. I may even add that in the future to this document. So, and I see there's a
Great
hand
point.
up too from
Yeah, great point.
Alufunmiola.
Thank you, William. Yes, Olufunmi Lola from Pawlucy. My DG just spoke. I really have to say thank you, because this is the first time I'm hearing the breakdown from just the value proposition statement. But you did mention that it should show up on your website and sort of like maybe a brochure. But do you think it's also useful to sort of have a version of it in an introductory mail? And also, how do you represent the you called it quantifying the value in sort of, I would say, in Africa, probably naira or dollars. I mean, is there sort of like a calculation you'd recommend to come up with that? Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I think that's a great question. I think in terms of once you're done this, what I would do is, so I wouldn't just put it in one spot on your website, for example, or one area. I would definitely make sure social media has it, but little chunks, like what you would do for X versus what you would do for Instagram versus what you would do for some of these other platforms in terms of social media, to make sure you're getting bits and pieces of this out there. So you're pulling out, for example, maybe the return on investment that you're seeing with your organization. You'll put that on X, and it'll just be a nice little graphic that you put up, and people are like, oh, wow, that's great. And then the other part of it is on your website, I would not just put it on one page, bury it on one page. What I would do is take your website and permeate this, make sure it goes through the entire website. So at every single point on your website, what I would say is, okay, well, here's our About Us page, or, like Steve outlined, here's the 3 big things that we do. Well, guess what? I'm going to pull out that I'll put our testimonials in there. And then in another section where we talk about, let's say, our export assistance that we're providing, I'll put testimonials of the export assistance that we pulled out of this in there. So let this value proposition, let it be right on your homepage, but also permeate throughout the rest of your organization. And I think the return on investment calculator, in terms of the calculation, Steve, I can touch on it unless you want to touch on it as well.
Sure, go ahead.
So I think return on investment, I think so for example, there's a lot of things that we can put value against. I think in terms of let's say we're doing access to capital workshops, you can easily probably identify other organizations that are charging like 40 let's say Jordanian dinars for, if we're talking about in Jordan, for a program like that. And as a member, let's say you've taken 5 of those, and as a member, you've received them at no charge, except for, of course, your membership dues, or if you paid a little bit for it, maybe you paid a discount. I always say it's good to have your members pay for their services, even if it's discounted. For example, let's say if there's a webinar, it's 40, whatever it is, whatever your currency is, that's for non-members. But if you're a member, you charge 10, for example. And then they could say, well, we attended 5 sessions. That's a 200 currency exchange, in terms of how much value we received. And I only paid 150, let's say, JDs for my membership. So right there, I'm making 50 just on that. So Steve, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about ROI, or do we want to?
Well, yeah, and we shared that example from Lebanon, and working with the manufacturers there, where we walked through that with that association, right? And service by service, benefit by benefit, how do we calculate the ROI for it? And I think it's a great exercise to go through. It's a great thing for all associations to do, to think through that, and try to get to the level of what is, how does this benefit the bottom line of our members, and what is, are we offering a positive ROI as part of our value proposition? There are lots of ways to approach that depending on the type of benefit we're talking about. But if you think about advocacy is a key service that many organizations offer. Most of you on this call probably have an advocacy or government relations program some way, and it's hard to convey the value of that to the members, right? Because there's a larger community benefit to what you're doing, in a social good, the advocacy program. But actually, there are ways to quantify that. If you think about what would it take, for a small business to draft a law or a regulation, or to get a meeting with the minister, or to have the legal expertise to analyze, X, Y, or Z regulation. That's an expensive proposition. And 99% of small businesses are not going to be able to afford it, but they can through the association, because of the economies of scale that are offered and so on. And so you can calculate for them, okay, what would it cost you to, to hire the lawyer or the government relations professional, et cetera, to do this kind of work for you, so, I mean, that's one way within the advocacy realm that you can quantify it as well. You look at the benefits programs, discounts are, as I shared earlier, discount programs are pretty popular and a pretty significant source of value for many associations. What will they gain? What will they save? What will the members save through the various discounts with affiliate partners and supplier partners and so forth? That's something else that we can quantify.
Yeah, I think Steve hit it. I would put a list of all your programs, benefits, and services, see what you think the value is. And maybe when you're talking about value proposition with your members, is sit down with them and say, what's this worth to you? And they'll say, this saved me, like the port discount, 50,000, let's just say. I mean, that's huge. That pays for your membership. It's done. But you could do it for all of those. I think it's a huge piece.
Thank you so much. It's been very useful feedback. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So other questions. I'm sure there's other folks that are on.
Bill, I
that
wanted to add to it as well, and this was from an experience we had working together with another another business women's association, where the membership program was not very well developed when we started, and a lot of free access was being given to beneficiaries of, in particular, market access services, and market days were being organized for small scale women micro entrepreneur producers, and we started asking the question of these women, well, would you pay for membership in the association? And the answer was yes, overwhelmingly yes.
Yes.
And how much would you pay? Well, it depends what we're getting in terms of value, which is the question, and which is the right answer for an entrepreneur. We found that typically with their participation in one market day, they were realizing a positive ROI. They were getting their money back. They were making the dues back and then some with the revenue they were generating from being part of one market day. So that's a golden handcuff to me right there, right?
Definitely.
You join, you make the money back within one market day, one engaging in one activity that we offer.
Yeah.
So we work through that with them, and explaining that and relating that, quantifying that for the.
Yeah. And I think that was the biggest barrier too, was like, so the dues, we always say this, your membership dues only keep the lights on. All of the other programs and benefits and services need to have support, not just because the association wants to make money, so that you can develop further and more impactful programs for your members. And I think if you frame it that way, they understand. And also, as we found out when we were talking to them, they said, yes, we'll pay. And so much interest when we were visiting the little villages around the country, and how they came out and they shared with us what are their pain points. What do they need from this organization? It was amazing. So I think getting out into the field with your members is hugely important. And I think going out into the field and getting data for this is important too. It won't take you a lot of time, but I think if you spend a good 3 days, 4 days going out and talking to members, or during your events and asking them some of these questions, or doing a workshop with them where you're asking these, I think it'll be hugely valuable.
Yeah. We have 5 minutes left, so we can probably take one more question. I have one more of my own related to that,
Sure.
William, which is how do you recommend that an association go undertake this process? Is it, the membership officer sitting down and working through this at their desk, or is it a task force of the board, or do you go out and talk to members, or a little sort of a combination of all of the above? What's the best way to tackle this?
Yeah, I always say it's good to have a starting point with some of these, because your board leaders, your professional staff team, if you have professional staff team, I know some organizations don't have full-time staff, maybe they have a part-time person, to go through and at least map out some of this thinking first. And then I would highly recommend going out to the members. Like, everyone here has probably an event that they have coming up, whether it's a webinar or a live event, potentially, whether it's 40 people, 200 people. I would have roundtables for this, and I would just talk through this and do some focus groups with your members to make sure, validate some of this. And it's not just a one-time thing. So you go and do your focus groups at an event, you validate that, and then you say, okay, now I'm going to make this stronger because this is what I'm being told. Now I have a webinar. I'm going to ask a couple more questions. Now it's disproving or proving some things. I'm going to make it stronger. Maybe, I know surveys don't work very well, but WhatsApp polls, other things, some things on our website, where we're getting feedback. So I would say this is a continuous process, but I think you can get most of it done immediately with your board leaders and professional staff team. But I think the validating part, I would love for you to do over a period of like 3 to 6 months with your members and stakeholders. And I would just ask these questions. And then once you have that together, I would roll it out. I would say, we went across the country, we talked to you, the members, this is what you told us, and then this is what we believe is the value proposition that we provide. And we want you to be a part of this. We want this to be your home. So So I never do anything in a vacuum. I think we need to do it within an embracing type of way with our stakeholders, all of them, not just members. Bring them all together, members, non-members, bring them together in all of this.
Well, thank you, William. I think this is a really key way of answering the call and the challenges of
Yes.
running a business membership organization in the year 2024. And you have a chapter in your book called "The Membership Model is Broken," which it's raw, but it's true in many ways, right? That the membership is not what it used to be. People don't join the association for the reasons that they used to. It's a harder sell. It's a harder sell, and this is how we make the sale, right? It's we got to demonstrate and articulate value in this way.
Yeah, and Steve, I would say by the time you're done this, you don't even have to make the sale, because you are highlighting so much value to them that they're saying, when's the next meeting? They're not going to say when can I join, but when can I get that export meeting? When can I get the access to finance meeting? Where can I get this meeting? Type of thing. Where do I get I just heard about the port discount. I need it. How do I get it? Who do I talk to? Like, how do I make it actionable?
Absolutely. Well, that brings us just to time here. William Pawlucy, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us today, for presenting the new tool that you've developed. As we said, we'll be happy to share that and the slides that we had today with the group. As always, we really appreciate and value your partnership, William, the expertise that you bring, all the insights. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of our participants for joining us today and for everything you do for your associations.
Yeah. Thank you to our partners, and you're not alone in this. And I know how hard this is, and it's not an easy write it down on paper type of thing. So really appreciate the work that you do to make your country successful, your organization successful, your sector successful. Because without you, there's no way that this can happen. They need you. We need you. So please, I'm here as a resource. Love CIPE and all of the partner organizations and everyone else who's on the call that may not be a member of CIPE or a partner of CIPE at this point in time. There might be folks that joined from other associations here in the States as well. But from the bottom of my heart, I think you can build a great home for your stakeholders. And thank you for having me, Steve.
Well said. Thank you, William. Thanks to everyone.
Absolutely.
Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.